There was also quite a bit of bitterness coming from Team USA's coach Cheryl Reeves when she was asked pretty much any questions about Caitlin Clark. And she was asked if there was any second guessing from her on Caitlin Clark not making the team, and she very just spitefully says no. Doesn't elaborate on it, just says no.
For me?
Yeah.
No.
And it's funny to me how even she coached this game, because if you didn't think Caitlin Clark was the caliber of player that she is, then why would you feel the need to face guard her, to trap her, to...
What do you get when a championship coach turns into a flamethrower with a clipboard? Chaos, drama, and a whole lot of side-eye. Cheryl Reeve just went full savage on every coach and the entire Indiana Fever squad over the All-Star votes. And let's just say, she didn't come to play nice. If you thought WNBA politics were mild, buckle up. Reeves got receipts, rage, and a bone to pick. You've never seen a meltdown this gloriously petty. Let's go.
I just finished watching the All-Star selection. I ain't never seen nothing like this before. Caitlin Clark is a menace, man. She literally kicked Cheryl Reeves off the team. This is my team. I don't yo, son. Cheryl Reeves, you asked for it. You asked for it. So now Sandy Brondello will be coaching Caitlin Clark's team, and Cheryl Reeves is going to be coaching the Fisa Collier's team. This is insane right here. And it's like, yo, Cheryl Reeves, I get it. You have the best record in the WNBA so far. You want as many plays as you can.
Cheryl Reeve could be handing out gold bars and curing the common cold, and there'd still be a stampede of people lining up to say, no thanks, we're good. Because even if she's got a valid point, there's just something about that old school WNBA energy that feels like someone brought a VHS tape to a streaming war. It's giving rotary phone in a smartphone world vibes.
Bruh, tell me y'all just saw Caitlin Clark destroy Cheryl Reeves on national TV. I know y'all saw free smoke, ayy, free smoke, ayy, free smoke, ayy, free smoke. Bruh, Caitlin Clark want all the smoke. Bruh, she just annihilated Cheryl Reeve on national television. I didn't see that.
And now she's stomping around about All-Star votes like she just discovered democracy has flaws? Welcome to Earth, Cheryl. Here's the thing. When someone from the league's dusty cabinet of power starts preaching, it's hard to take it seriously, especially when it sounds less like advocacy and more like a disgruntled Yelp review from a coach who just watched her team get outplayed, outclassed, and outfanned by a franchise that suddenly matters to the world.
So Cheryl Reeves, man, she came out stating how not only herself, but her players were kind of upset about the coaches' votes for the reserves, for the All-Star. Now, the crazy thing about it is, she's going to be coaching Caitlin Clark's team. So, I don't know how that's going to work with her coming out and saying what she said. I mean, who knows?
Oh yes, we're talking about them, the Indiana Fever, the same team with 3 All-Stars, the same team that danced right through the Commissioner's Cup like they were auditioning for center stage at Madison Square Garden. And now suddenly Cheryl's emotional thermostat is stuck on rage tweet.
The WNBA All-Star draft was fun between Caitlin Clark and Nafisa Collier, the team captains, picking the players, picking the rosters. But the most interesting aspect was the coach swap, because Clark traded Cheryl Reeve, who was the coach of her team, or was to be the coach of her team, to Collier for Sandy Brondello, the coach of the New York Liberty. Of course, Reeve is Collier's head coach for the Minnesota Lynx, so that makes sense. But the drama is going to come from Reeve having previously been critical on social media about the amount of attention Clark received relative to the rest of the...
There's a weird aroma in the air when someone complains about media hype but somehow manages to give the media more hype by going off in public. It's like watching someone throw water on a grease fire and then act surprised when the flames hit the ceiling. Cheryl isn't mad about fairness. She's mad because the spotlight used to automatically shine on her system, her rules, her players, and now the light shifted and it's a little too bright for her taste. Let's call it what it is, a good old-fashioned case of all-star envy. Nothing brings out the inner chaos goblin of the WNBA like watching a team get 3 shiny all-star nods while yours gets, what, applause for effort? Suddenly it's not about basketball, it's about algorithms and justice. and the integrity of the game, whatever that means this week, because when her players aren't selected, it's a systemic issue. But when her team wins, oh, then the system's working just fine. Convenient. The real kicker, she had to watch her squad get schooled by that same Indiana Fever team in a game that actually meant something. The Commissioner's Cup. A trophy. Real stakes. And she didn't just lose. It wasn't a fluke three-mailer or buzzer-beater heartbreak. No, this was a full display of dominance. And that's where the salt crystallized into a full-blown Himalayan mountain. It's not the all-star votes that stung. It's the scoreboard.
Names are there, they're there. There's nothing no crying and whining is going to do about it. The same way you didn't give two shits about Caitlin Clark's fan base and all that, don't nobody give two shits about your crying. You know what I'm saying? Like that, you're coaching Caitlin Clark's team. I don't understand why you had to make it a big deal and say, oh, well, this team's below us to have more plays and us, and it's disappointing. And like, what are you talking about? Like, you already kept her off the Olympics. Now you're going to complain about her having more teammates than your players on the court. This team. Embarrassing.
That loss wasn't just a bruise to the ego, it was a televised exorcism. And now she's spiraling like someone who found out the neighbor's kid got into Harvard while hers is still doing TikTok dances in the driveway. It's petty, it's delicious, and it's peak vintage Reeve. Because nothing says, I'm totally fine, like erupting in public about a popularity contest that doesn't even matter. Except when it does. The WNBA's finally in the limelight, and instead of leaning into it, here comes Cheryl with a megaphone screaming about balance and respect. Like the league's about to get hijacked by a bunch of 22-year-olds with Instagram deals. Guess what? It already has. And it's working. The ratings are up, the merch is flying off shelves, and the fever has gone from meme to movement. But nah, let's pretend this is still 2014, and the world owes veteran coaches a pat on the back just for showing up in a pantsuit. This isn't even about logic, it's about energy. Because that all-star roster didn't get filled by accident. It got filled by buzz, by fans, by real moments that went viral for a reason. You can't coach your way around hype. You can't game plan against momentum. Cheryl's trying to play chess while everyone else is live streaming Uno with millions of viewers. And every time she tries to checkmate the new guard, they just reverse the draw 4 and send it right back.
They asked Caitlin Clark, hey, Caitlin, are there any player trades you like to make? Nah, I'm kind of set with my team, but I would like to trade coaches. I like it. I don't know what's gotten into Caitlin Clark. You are leaning into this bad guy role. I love it. I don't know what's gotten into you, Caitlin Clark, but you've been on some I don't give a F lately. I love it.
And let's be honest, if her team had 3 all-stars, we wouldn't be hearing a single peep. There'd be a parade, confetti, maybe even a LinkedIn post about culture wins. But the minute the recognition skips over her crew, suddenly we're in an emergency meeting about ethics? Please. The only emergency is the PR crisis of trying to look gracious while seething over someone else's spotlight. It's always fascinating how quickly teamwork and merit turns into this is rigged when the votes don't go your way. The system's broken, but only when it breaks away from the same tired power structures. The league's growing, finally capturing national attention, but heaven forbid the attention doesn't align with legacy egos. Cheryl isn't fighting for fairness. She's just uncomfortable with being irrelevant, and deep down everyone knows it. There's a distinct flavor to this type of outrage, the flavor of someone who's watching the game evolve in real time and can't decide whether to adapt or throw a tantrum. And tantrum won. Because when your legacy is built on being the smartest person in the room, nothing hurts more than realizing the room moved without you. The fever is rising, literally, and Cheryl's stuck in a snowstorm of her own expectations. Watching her get flustered over a list of names read off during halftime feels like watching someone argue with a touch screen.
To mention being the coach of Team USA that Caitlin Clark was so famously snubbed from. Of course, Reeve wasn't a part of the official committee, but, some may believe she had some say in how all that went down. Regardless, the picking between the players was a lot of fun, and Caitlin Clark also wound up with all of the Fever members on her squad as well, meaning Aaliyah Boston, Clark, and Kelsey Mitchell will be a trio in Indianapolis for
The WNBA is having a moment, and some people are so bitter they'd rather see it stall than celebrate the players pulling it forward. This isn't just sour grapes, it's a whole vineyard. It's grape juice, grape jelly, fermented into vintage wine. And somewhere, deep in her heart, she knows it. But admitting that would mean accepting that the game has passed her old blueprint by. That winning isn't enough anymore. That charisma, visibility, relevance, those matter now. And if your brand can't compete, no amount of screaming into the all-star void is going to change that. The truth is, the Fever earned every bit of that spotlight. Whether by design or by chaos, they became the nucleus of WNBA conversation. And Cheryl? Cheryl became the angry side character yelling from the stands. It's not a good look. It's giving 2007 called and wants its playbook back. So no, even if she's technically right about a few things, no one's listening because no one wants to hear the person who just lost tell you why the winner's not that impressive. That's not analysis. That's ego in a cheap disguise. And when the dust settles, the All-Star game will go on. The fans will cheer, the Fever will bask. And Cheryl Reeve? She'll still be there, trying to turn back a clock that doesn't care. The drama in this league is like a telenovela with sneakers. Every week it levels up. First, it's a missed call. Then it's an Instagram unfollow.
Caitlin Clark was supposed to be coached by Minnesota Lynx head coach Cheryl Reeve. Nafisa Collier was supposed to be coached by New York Liberty head coach Sandy Brondello. They swapped coaches. Cheryl Reeve, dodged the bullet. Thank God I don't need to coach Caitlin Clark, Man, I can't deal with that. I would have had to swallow so much pride, I can't do that. Fee, she probably called in the Fee, talk to Caitlin, please. I can't coach her, I can't do it. This book's about to come out. You know what they're going to be saying if I'm coaching Caitlin Clark and the book's out? Oh, God. Fee, please, Fee.
Now it's Cheryl Reeve storming out of the All-Star committee like she just found out her favorite soap got canceled. The WNBA isn't just about basketball anymore. It's a full-on circus of side eyes, passive-aggressive post-game interviews, and three-point daggers thrown with the accuracy of high school gossip. It's absolutely exhausting and somehow also wildly entertaining. But here's the twist that keeps getting lost in translation. All-Star Weekend is not a gritty playoff matchup. It's not film room breakdowns and defensive schemes. It's not who boxed out the hardest or who logged the highest defensive rating in the last 30 days. No, All-Star Weekend is for the fans. It's the halftime show of the entire WNBA season. It's glitter, stunt, selfies, and maybe a dunk or two if someone's feeling spicy. And the minute that reality sets in, suddenly the outrage over who got voted in feels like someone throwing a tantrum at a birthday party because their cake only had one candle. What Cheryl Reeve and others in her crusty echo chamber don't seem to grasp is that fans are not advanced analytics. They don't vote with stat sheets in hand. They vote with emotion, with loyalty, with hype. If the All-Star game were truly about performance, then great. Just run an Excel sort function, plug in the top 10 PERs, and roll the ball out.
Lads, we gotta talk about something right here. We have got to talk about something. Caitlin Clark just made the funniest All-Star selections ever. She just picked her friends. She made sure she picked no ops, as people like to call them. She made sure there were no ops on her team. If she's played with a player before, like Sonia Citron, she picked her. Gabby Williams, she picked nobody to tweet a negative thing about.
But that's not what it is. That's never been what it is. All-Star games are the democratic chaos of sports. You think the NBA's voting process was ever objective? Zaza Pachulia almost made it once. And yet here we are watching a whole section of the WNBA world act like the league's honor code got violated because a few players with massive fan bases made the cut. As if that's not the entire point. You don't get to throw a fit about popularity contests when the ballots literally say fan vote. That's the design. That's the game. That's the popcorn and lights show everyone claims to want until their favorite gets snubbed and suddenly it's a scandal. The Caitlin Clark effect is real, undeniable, and frankly, keeping the lights on at this point. Her fans didn't just show up, they took over. They bought the jerseys, packed the arenas, and hijacked the All-Star vote like it was a political campaign. That's not cheating the system, that is the system. Popularity has always been the currency of All-Star games, and guess what? Caitlyn's fans are rich with it. The uncomfortable truth for the Reeve regime is that Caitlin Clark's popularity isn't a glitch, it's a shift, a wave, a movement. You don't have to like it, but you do have to accept it. Because pretending this is about basketball purity when it's really about relevance, whiplash, is just exhausting. The WNBA didn't suddenly get shallow, it got popular.
Reeve. So everyone that was concerned about Caitlyn getting coached by Cheryl Reeve, we don't have to worry about that or anything. I wasn't necessarily concerned. I thought it would be funny that she would have to coach Caitlyn's team with the Indiana crowd there. Knowing the history from, the Olympic team and everything like that, this is the funniest result possible. You put her back, with Team Collier. You put her basically on the road team. That crowd's going to be all in for Team Caitlyn with all the fever.
And some folks just aren't built for that transition. Here's the problem with the Merit Olo argument. It assumes that All-Star Weekend is some sacred proving ground, instead of what it actually is, a flashy, crowd-pleasing mid-season break. If the All-Star game was truly about who's best, we wouldn't even be having a vote. We'd hand it over to a panel of cold, joyless statisticians in a windowless room. But that's not fun, that's not the brand. The brand is vibes. You don't get to roll out the welcome mat and then complain when people actually walk through the door. The All-Star game is a celebration, not a summit on moral basketball excellence. This whole debate feels like yelling at clouds while the sun is finally shining. The league is growing, ticket sales are booming, and media coverage is at an all-time high. But no, let's center the conversation around a coach getting flustered because her players didn't make a list voted on by people who wear Crocs to games. It's misguided, it's out of touch, and it's not a good use of breath.
The coaches for the All-Star game in Indiana has been set, and we have no other. And a lot of people had asked me, do I think that this was going to happen? And I didn't have no clue. And I didn't think it was going to happen, but hey, it has happened. According to Yahoo Sports, WNBA All-Star game head coaches are set. Minnesota Lynx coach Cheryl Reeve will lead the team Clark, and the New York Liberty will coach Sandy Brondello will lead team Collier. Now, the reason why these two coaches have been picked because they are the two best.
The fans are driving the bus now, not the coaches, not the traditionalists, and certainly not the gatekeepers who can't seem to figure out how hashtags work. The moment the WNBA opened its doors to a new generation of fans, it became their league too. And they're not looking for lectures about defensive rotations. They want moments, drama, stars. And if that means the All-Star team looks more like a music festival lineup than a defensive-minded dream team, so be it. It's time to stop clutching pearls over how All-Star rosters are shaped. They're shaped by interest. And really, isn't that what All-Star's about? Who shows up? Who people show up for? If fans want to see Caitlin Clark chuck up logo threes while wearing bedazzled sneakers, that's what the game is supposed to deliver. It's not the Oscars of hoops. It's the summer blockbuster. And nobody buys popcorn to watch a spreadsheet. So enough with the self-important tantrums about deserving more respect. That's not how any of this works. Respect isn't issued, it's earned in the marketplace of attention.
Team's hilarious. And not only that, she traded her coach. So she was originally meant to play for Cheryl Reeve. You guys don't know who Cheryl Reeve? She was the Team USA coach who basically has said a bunch of negative things on social media about Caitlin Clark, who had like a bad write-up in Christine Brennan's book, then deleted all the tweets and she deleted a bunch of tweets, said the tweets never existed in the first place, and basically basically is now saying Christine Brennan is a...
And right now, Caitlin Clark is Amazon Prime. The fans don't owe anyone a perfectly balanced voting record. They owe the league their energy, their money, their clicks. and they're delivering it in record numbers, just not in the direction some people were hoping. And the wildest part? This happens every year. Every All-Star selection in every league brings out the same chorus of snubbed and robbed and travesty. It's tradition at this point. The only difference is now the WNBA is finally under a microscope, and not everyone was ready to be scrutinized. Because it's one thing to operate in a bubble, it's another to be judged by a global audience that doesn't care who used to dominate in 2008. The WNBA asked for relevance, and now it's here, in all its unpredictable, opinionated, and occasionally chaotic glory. It's not neat, it's not always fair, but it is working. The league is hotter than ever, and the All-Star game is a big reason why. So instead of dragging it into a lecture about respect and balance and stats, maybe just embrace the spectacle, let the fans have their fun, let the chaos reign. Because if there's one thing this league has earned, it's a moment to bask in the madness. Let the drama play out, let the debates rage, and most of all, let the fans enjoy the show, because in the end, that's who it's all for.